Welcome, everyone, to Season 6, Episode 8 of the Hall of Fame show. And I'm Kirk Buchner, along with Evan Nolan, and we run this joint, not in halloffame.com. And with some big news coming soon with the United States Athletics Hall of Fame, look for that mid-May, where we're going to be doing an announcement of who are the replacement candidates. So that should be fun.
Mhm.
But today it is the day after the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame made their announcement on American Idol.
Nothing more rock and roll. Who are the judges on American Idol these
Oh,
days?
no. I didn't watch it.
I didn't either, which is funny because it looks to be Lionel Richie, uh, and two other people.
Uh,
Lionel Richie, Luke Bryan, and Carrie Underwood. Three
okay.
American Idol people, but none of them very rock. So,
No, I thought Katy Perry was at one point. She might be a good elevator down the way she's malfunctioning on stage these days. But
mm,
anywho,
a
that's
lot of that.
yeah, I guess that trip to space really rotted her brain. I think they replaced her with something up there.
You never know. It was 15 seconds, so.
Wait a minute, 15 seconds? 15 seconds to Mars? No, no, I don't know. I'm playing 60 degrees of separation with crap here, so I'll just sort of like move on to the actual Raw call.
That makes sense.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to comment on something again that neither of us watched. Coachella just happened. Couldn't you have done it there?
Yeah.
Like, what I would do is figure out how to get that and maybe have one person who's actually part of the induction class come out there and do a quick set.
That makes sense.
I mean, that's more of a rock audience. That's more, even though it's a much younger audience. Usually the headliners around my age.
True.
So, I mean, like, how cool would that have been if, let's say,
Soundgarden. Soundgarden, I think, is the one.
well, I was thinking Cyndi Lauper.
Or Cyndi Lauper, yeah.
Just comes out, does Girls Just Want to Have Fun, maybe a couple other ones, leaves, and then they just announce who else it is.
Fair enough.
That would be far cooler. It'd be far more anticipation, and at least you're getting to your core audience, who is going to be the next group of people who are really going to care about the Rock Hall. Because even
Mhm.
though they're getting a lot of it right with who they induct,
They're getting better.
the interest has never been lower. I
That
didn't
nailed
see a
for sure.
trend. I didn't see anyone make any comments about it. My site traffic didn't go up much.
No, and I do have to say, putting American Idol just seems like a decision made in a boardroom. You know what I
It,
mean? And not actually made by anyone who cares about the Rock Hall.
it's sort of like, okay, we're going to do the Baseball Hall of Fame announcement, but we're going to do it right before the Savannah Bananas game.
I was going to say Savannah Bananas.
Yeah, it just came to mind right now. But let's congratulate those who did get in. Who do you want to start with?
I mean, we already brought up Cyndi Lauper, so let's start with her.
All right, well, I'm very happy for her. Uh, I think we both thought she was going to get in. This
Yes.
was a very good ballot for her, and here she is. Uh,
Just her second time on the ballot. So she was on a couple years ago in 2023, which was a much more crowded ballot for women. Kate Bush, Sheryl Crow, Missy Elliott all got in. Chaka Khan got in with the musical excellence. Um, but yeah, so she was sort of the lady left out on that one. This one, there was just her and Mariah Carey, really. And she was clearly more likely to be the selection than Mariah. That's
you
where we were.
gotta hand it to her. Some of her music, which seems so 80s, still resonates today.
Hmm.
It's a very impressive catalog that she has. I think there's a lot of. Actually, I should reach out to that group who I interviewed a few years ago. It was a Cyndi Lauper for the Hall of Fame fan club, so they must be
Hmm.
very happy about that.
I'd imagine.
Yeah, so they got their wish. It's something I think we both predicted. Uh, I'm happy for her. I might be happiest for her out of everyone here.
Yeah. Um, There's another one who I'm pretty excited about, but yeah, good for Cyndi Lauper. She deserves to be in the Rock Hall. Um, there's really no question for that for me. So
Okay.
I'd say the next one. Let's stay with I guess a little bit on the older side. Not that Cyndi Lauper is old, but not the more '90s groups, which we had a few of. But let's just go to the oldest person on this list, Chubby Checker.
Mm-hmm. Still
So,
alive. He wanted this.
mhm.
I guess that's another person I'm sort of really happy for. I'm not overly big on him here, mainly because he was one song, a couple other ones that were sort of linked to his original hit. But I know what it meant to him,
Mhm.
and I think that's what a lot of the voters were thinking.
Yeah, I
He
mean, he had the
stands out
twist.
on this ballot.
Sorry, so he had the twist. Then he had Let's Twist Again. Then he had Slow Twistin'. He had the Peppermint Twist. Uh, also, the Limbo Rock and Pony Time.
Mhm.
Um, but he's 83 years old. Um, Still going. I mean, there aren't that many people left from the doo-wop era, just in general, who are around. Um, and in the late 50s, early 60s, Checker's one of them. I don't really have an issue with him getting in at this point. There are other people from that era I think are a little more deserving still, like
Mhm.
Mary Wells maybe at some point again. Um,
Yeah.
Benny King is somebody who was nominated the first few years we've never seen again.
Mhm.
But Chubby Checker getting in is a sign that those folks hasn't been fully forgotten. And I really think, like we've talked about this before, they need a senior committee for this at this point. Anyone who is basically before 1975, so 50 years ago,
Mhm.
they go to a senior committee. And if they're going to be a senior selection, I'd have no issue with it having been. Um,
Yeah, maybe a pre-Woodstock or something like that.
I was just doing 75 because it's
Yeah,
50 years ago.
that makes
So
sense. Yeah, but no, I mean, I'm sure that this is the person who it means the most to.
agreed.
I would think.
I mean, I bet it means a lot to Cyndi Lauper, but it means way more to Chubby Checker. Cyndi Lauper, I mean, between Kinky Boots, where she won a Tony Award for that, and a whole bunch of other stuff she's been doing. Chubby Checker has been basically a musician without anything else really going for his career. So this, yeah, I bet this means a lot more to him.
Yeah, he's pretty much. It's weird to say, but he's probably been a nostalgia act for as long as I've been alive.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's that it had to be like the early 60s,
Yeah, it was, and
61, 60s. I mean, the last hit, I'd have to look this up. I imagine his last hit happens before the Beatles hit the Ed Sullivan Show.
unless they count that uh, Chubby Checker and the Fat Boys,
Oh, well, maybe they do.
uh, are they even alive?
The Fat Boys?
Yeah.
I'll find out.
I mean, I know they're much younger than Mr. Checker, but they were not in Chubby's shape.
Which is kind of funny when you say that. Let's
I
see.
wasn't going for a pun there, but yeah, that was totally accidental.
So Cool Rock Ski is still alive,
Mhm.
but Buff Love and Prince Marky D have passed away.
I was playing the odds on that one.
Yeah, Buff Love died back in 1995
Oh,
at
shit.
the age of 28,
Okay.
and Prince Marky D died in 2021. I think I remember covering him.
Oh, okay. All
And
right.
then Cool Rock Ski is 58 years old
Wow.
and not really that fat anymore. So.
So he's the morbidly obese man.
I suppose, but he's no, he's pretty skinny at this point.
The
So,
okay, the former fat boy.
sure.
Oh,
So,
oh well.
anyway, but yeah, so good for Chubby Checker getting in here. Um, Next up, let's talk about I guess the '70s nostalgia act that they like to put in here. Although I don't think I have any problem with this one. Bad Company.
Yeah, this felt like as soon as they were going to get on that ballot, like
Mhm.
a lot of these other bands, from
Yeah,
the 70s, once you're on the ballot, you've got enough people that are going to vote for them. We've seen what this voting body will do. So this
correct,
feels tailor-made for Bad Company. That one I think we both said they were going to get in.
correct. I mean, this is Foreigner had this spot previously.
Mhm.
We had T-Rex, the Doobie Brothers, Roxy Music, like the Moody Blues. Like once you're on ELO, Cheap Trick, Chicago,
Yep.
like it just once you're on, finally, you're gonna get in. You know what I mean? Um, I guess Journey's not quite in there because Journey was a little more controversial. But the rest of them, they once they're on, there they were. So Dire Straits is another one.
Yeah.
So it's actually, I mean, we had Foreigner last year, but it had been a few years prior to that. You have to, I think, go back to T-Rex and Doobie Brothers back in 2020.
Mhm.
But yeah, this is there aren't a ton of these guys left either. The one who I'm surprised never made it in was Thin Lizzy, who got nominated once. Um,
Yeah,
but if
I
they
wonder why
came
that
back,
was. They fit that this bill, but maybe they weren't necessarily as commercially successful. And when you look at Thin Lizzy, even though they got a pretty extensive catalog, I'm sure
Mhm.
maybe some people just think of them as two songs.
That's a possible. Also, we can only have one band from Ireland, so um, we got you two, and that's it. I'm pretty sure, unless there's another Irish band I'm forgetting. Um,
I think the Cranberries are not going to get anytime soon. So
which is ridiculous because Cranberries are better than a lot of the bands who get nominated. So, um, but yeah, so yeah, I'm not surprised with Bad Company. Very, very good. Honestly, well, here's something. Let's just back up a second. Does Chubby Checker getting in help anybody, do you think?
no,
I don't really think so necessarily either. How about Cyndi Lauper?
no, no, not that I can think of.
I mean, it's
I mean,
we
her
already have
contemporary was Madonna, who was in right away.
yeah, I mean, and I guess you could probably say Pat Benatar, but she's in already.
Kate
Uh,
Bush was part of that quirky little thing, but she's already in.
she's already in.
I
So
don't. No, I don't. I can't think of anybody.
aren't there really that many who she helps? Bad Company, I think, does.
I
I
agree.
think Bad Company clears the way for, I mean, God forbid they want to bring Jane Giles band back again at this point. Boston has got to be
Austin,
another
yeah.
one.
Well, Jay
Um,
Giles, wasn't that what's his name? His pet project for a while. I felt
yeah,
like Don Winter kept wanting to put that up every year, and then for whatever reason, he never pulled the trigger with the musical excellence award on them.
I mean, it's only a matter of time. Jay Giles band has been nominated 5 times. So most recently back in 2018.
Mhm.
But I would be surprised to see them again. There are probably a few others I'm forgetting off the top of my head. There aren't that many of those guys left, though, really easy. Big Star, maybe on an outside shot. Um, but yeah, so I honestly think Bad Company getting in is just very good for Boston because I kind of feel like they're left alone now as the big 70s ballad yet rock bands, which aren't in yet.
I think what did Wayne said in Wayne's World? When he was holding up a copy of Rumors, Fleetwood Mac, and he used a
Mhm.
joke like that was shipped in the '70s that this album was shipped to your house. I think he might have Mike Myers might have actually used that just in relation to the Boston album debut at one point, but
Makes sense.
you could interplay that album at the same time.
Yeah,
Everyone
fair
had
enough.
it, and then they
But
didn't know
good,
what to do.
but good for Bad Company.
Mhm.
They're a band with enough of a catalog, enough of a following, and enough of a career that they deserve to be here. So,
And as Mr. Carlson said, you know, which T-shirt should we have, Boston or Foreigner? Boston. Those foreign stuff shrink.
excellent. Plus, if Boston gets, I mean, maybe Kansas. Kansas and America are also still out there too. Chicago's the only place that we have in. So,
Mm.
Kansas, America, Asia, uh,
Only time will tell.
Alabama. Ah, well played.
Thank you.
Nicely done. Um, yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, good for Bad Company. Uh, so I want to go through, I guess, the one who I'm least excited about, and as much as I love him and I have his greatest hits album, Joe Cocker is in
Yeah,
here.
yeah, same. Uh, I've always had a bias against people who didn't write their own stuff.
He's basically Joe Cocker. If Joe Cocker's in, I don't see how Weird Al can't get in. They're both covering other people's music.
I suppose. That I wouldn't have, if you would have said, okay, who does Joe Cocker help? Weird Al would not have been the first thing that came to mind.
First one comes to mind for me.
Okay. I mean, Mad Dogs and Englishmen it's a phenomenal album.
It is. It's fantastic.
Nobody sounds like him.
Mm-mm.
Joe Cocker and Bad Company, those were two acts that on the site, not on Hall of Fame site, they have like ranks of around 94, 95 plus. I've put them in. I absolutely put them in. So they are among the most beloved who will vote on the site. It would have been nice to see him sort of like belt something out one more time.
Yeah.
Fortunately. Actually, that would have been the person you bring out at Coachella.
100%. Yeah, if he weren't passed away. But
yeah, you do that, and he just does a little help from my friends. Like how cool would that?
Or the letter. The letter, I still think is my favorite of his. But yeah. And honestly, even this duet, "Love Lift Me Up Where We Belong," is one of the better duets of the movie soundtrack duets out there.
Officer and a Gentleman.
Officer and a Gentleman, yeah. So I love Joe Cocker. I just never want to hear anyone complain about people who don't write their own songs getting in ever again.
Well, I think that's sort of like a pass with Percy Sledge.
Well, that'd be true too. But
yeah.
I still hear it all the time.
Well, I'm one of the people who said it.
Yeah.
And I'll stand by. That doesn't mean I don't think they shouldn't be. It's just I will hold them at a lower pool in some ways to me. It doesn't mean I can't have them higher than some people who wrote their own stuff.
They're more towards the bottom of your pyramid.
They get knocked down a peg or two.
Got it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I would never put them in, but it's something that does resonate with me. Actually, funny thing, Up Where We Belong, I guess they have to change. You might know this, I don't. Oh no, there was, because that's when Buffy St. Marie wrote that.
Correct.
And they said that was the first time that an Indigenous person won an Oscar. Guess not.
Fairly true. Yeah.
Oh no, I guess there'd be another actual Canadian, Graham Greene. Didn't he win in Dances with Wolves?
He might have. I don't remember. It's funny. I was driving through South Dakota, and there were all sorts of signs for the site where Dances with Wolves was filmed. There are signs for it all over the place. There's not much in South Dakota, but there are the cities and then nothing in between. So, although it is an absolutely beautiful state, and I recommend everyone go check it out. Okay. But by the way, Joe Cocker getting in, I know I joked about Weird Al. I honestly think the biggest beneficiary of this, in my opinion, is George Thorogood and the Destroyers. But that's really all I can see who he might have been blocking.
I don't think George Thorogood's on their radar at all.
It's possible. I'm just saying in terms of clearing out some sort of lane, maybe, I don't know, Captain Beefheart. That's a name I've heard circled before, but we've never seen. So I don't know if Joe Cocker really helps that many people when he gets in. So, all right, next up, talking of the easiest path, in our opinion, to getting in this time, the clearest path belonged to Outkast.
And it went exactly like we predicted. There was little to no doubt in our mind. Now, this does help a lot of people.
Yes. Yeah. So they didn't make the mistake of putting multiple hip hop groups on here again, which was a problem they had for a while with no one else here. I mean, this helps Snoop. This helps Dre. This helps Wu-Tang Clan. Who else you got?
Everyone else who was following in the Atlanta scene.
Yeah.
That a lot of them are not eligible yet, but Outkast was a big part of that. Everyone knows them. This is the one that made me feel really, really old. Because it feels like, hey, yeah, it was just like a minute ago.
Yeah, it was. It was
like, what do you mean? These guys are in their late 40s now?
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I just saw Andre 3000 again when I watched Semi-Pro. What the hell? Bloody hell. Uh, are they on good terms? I don't even know.
Oh, he's Andre 3000 turns 50 this year. He turns
That's good.
50 next month.
Okay. I haven't seen what he looks like lately, but I'm sure it's not much different.
He has graying hair.
Hmm. Probably the same
So,
face. He just looks like someone who his face is going to stay the same. I don't know that. I'm just guessing.
yeah. Big boy has already turned 50 this year.
Okay.
So, crazy. Yeah, his birthday's February 1st, so he turned 50 February 1st. Absolutely crazy. We're getting old, man.
Well, we kept our hair, man. That's really my win. Everywhere else, I'm losing left and right.
Yeah, entirely possible. All right. Next up on our list. Oh, by the way, yeah, we already talked about who Outcast helped. The White Stripes.
Hmm.
I was a little surprised they didn't get in the first time they're nominated.
Same.
But I just because of how much a darling Jack White is for everything. I mean, Jack White's out again with his what's it, Cardinal, whatever his name is, song, which is playing all over the radio, at least out here. Um,
He's going to be in Seattle this fall, playing right at the theater across from me. So he thinks I'm going.
you, you think you're going?
I think I'll go to that. Yeah.
Sorry, Archbishop, excuse me, wrong one. Archbishop Harold Holmes. Have you heard that song?
I'm sure I have. I'm bad with titles these days.
It's good. But yeah, it's all over the way out here. Good for Jack White. Absolutely deserves to be there. He turns 50 this year as well, by the way.
Mm.
Um, but I think this may be the first of two inductions for him in his career. I think at some point he'll get in as a solo artist as well.
Yeah, our friend Glenn said the exact same thing
Yeah.
on X. He said like he predicts that there's going to be a second one. Jack is one of those guys who can mix it up and do pretty much anything and
Yeah.
do it well.
Agreed. Who do you think the White Stripes getting in helps the most?
They're not eligible yet, or he's not eligible yet, but I'm gonna shock you here a bit with this. Post Malone, another person who can do it all.
Ooh, interesting. So I'm wondering if I know he's been nominated once and only once, which is shocking to me. But I'm wondering if this helps Beck.
That's a better one. I should have went with Beck.
No,
Beck.
I don't think Post Malone's a bad guess. I think Post Malone's a really good
Well,
guess.
no, but I get that. Yeah, but it's going to be years before he's eligible. So,
Hmm.
Beck, yeah, no, that actually makes far more sense. One of those people that I don't get it. He fits all the criteria you're looking for.
Hmm.
A lot of your critics, you loved
He's
him.
performed at the Rock Hall a ton, helped with inductions there. He's like
Yep.
one of their buddies. It's so surprising he's not in, but I really think not the White Stripes and Beck are not exactly the same. I'm not claiming that in any way, shape, or form. White Stripes is much harder rock than Beck is, but they both kind of have the same sort of rock songwriter, which is not that big of a category. Uh, they both have that sort of same lane, and I think this helps Beck maybe more than anyone else I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. You can actually parallel Beck with the person who I believe was who they carted off an American Idol as part of Rock and Roll Hall of Fame week, James Taylor. I know that's a weird comparison, but
Yeah, I mean James Taylor is another person who's performed a bunch with the Rock Hall as well. Is another one of their buddies.
mhm,
So, but yeah, interesting to see them there. And then I think the one I wanted to save for last out of the original seven we had here,
mhm,
the one we have been waiting
yes.
for so long to get in because it allows us to have discussions about other folks.
Mhm.
Soundgarden is in the class of 2025.
Yeah, when you finally make it out here, I can show you the Chris Cornell statue outside the Museum of Pop Culture, which doesn't really look like Chris Cornell. So,
Does it look more like Chris Cornell than that statue or that bust of Ronaldo looks like him?
well, I think when no, I God, now I'm gonna have that damn face in my head. It's Jesus, those statues can go turn so dirty so quick, huh?
You're welcome.
My God.
But Soundgarden, again, we kind of felt like we had Nirvana, we had Pearl Jam.
Mhm.
They kept throwing up Rage Against the Machine here for a while. We've seen Alice in Chains once. No, I'm sorry, not Alice in Chains. We've seen Jane's Addiction once.
Mhm.
Um, but they finally got Rage in a couple years ago, and Soundgarden was just the next band. We didn't see him. So Rage got in 2023. We didn't see anyone kind of in that group back last year in 2024. Soundgarden came back for the third time. Third time was the charm. It's great to see them in.
Yeah, and this helps so many. Well, Smashing Pumpkins are at the top of my list.
Smashing Pumpkins has got to be way up there. Again,
Yeah.
Jane's Addiction's already on the radar. Alice in Chains,
Stone
uh,
Temple Pilots.
Sonic Youth,
Hmm.
Social Distortion. I'd put on that list as well, although
Yeah.
they're a little bit different, but in the same sort of time period and everything along those lines. I do agree with you that Smashing Pumpkins should be next. That doesn't mean that's where they're going next. Um, but yeah, it's just great to see like the next one of those bands cleared out so we can move on to the next group.
Yeah, and so I guess we should also touch on those in the traditional ballot.
So the ones who didn't get in, you mean?
Yeah, so Fish, which,
No, so let's just Fish and Mana. We were not expecting either of them to get in.
no, despite what the fan vote said.
Yeah. I mean, Fish is a jam band. We've had Dave Matthews Band got in last year. I understand following Dave Matthews Band with Fish, but it's hard for me to see that happen necessarily soon. We already talked about Mariah Carey. Um, expect we'll see her back again. This is her second year in a row. I'm expecting we'll probably see her again next year as well. Um, I still want to see Diana Ross, please, at some point,
Mhm.
rock hall as a solo artist. Um, then the other three, well, let me start with the one I'm a little surprised is getting in, although they may have enough people they feel. Oasis was dominated for the second straight year. They're actually back together. They're actually performing. I thought this would be the year to get them in where they're actually getting along.
Yep,
And
because that doesn't happen long.
doesn't happen long and see if
Yeah.
we can get them out. Oasis is getting in at some point.
Mhm.
Um, and fairly soon. It wouldn't shock me if we don't see him next year just because they've been in 2 years in a row and they didn't get in. It's rare at this point they do 3 years in a row. They usually give people a year off. Um, but I expect Oasis to be in pretty soon. Black Crows, they got their first nomination.
Yeah,
They
I
should
didn't see
100%
that.
be in as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, but I didn't think they were going to.
I didn't think they're going to get in this time either, but it's good to see them on the radar.
Mm.
I'm not expecting to see Black Crows next year, but again, Black Crows is probably a beneficiary of Soundgarden getting in too.
Hmm.
Um, so uh, when it wouldn't shock me if we see Black Rose and Smashing Pumpkins, or maybe it's like, hey, Black Rose is next. Let's just keep them and forget about Smashing Pumpkins until we give them a shot on their own and see what that looks like. But the one that bothers me the most, not getting
Okay.
in, is Billy Idol.
Oh, okay. Then not the same.
Oh, I'm sorry. There are two of them. So yeah, well, let me start with Billy Idol. There are two that bother me. I apologize. I already have the other one highlighted and on my screen because it's highlighted. I skipped
Okay.
it, which
Yeah.
is obvious. So let's just talk Billy Idol for a second. Billy Idol is exactly what the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame should be looking for, in my opinion. Um, he is a big star. He's still putting out music. I understand well, I mean, last time we talked about this, he brought up a little bit of controversy with his candidacy, in your opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like one of those guys who looked more like a poser based on how his
Mhm.
music was, if that makes any sense. Mind you, in the entire decade of the 80s, it's hard to come up with a better banger than White Wedding.
Yeah, and again,
White Wedding and Rebel Yell together.
we're also talking about the 80s. Who wasn't a poser in the 80s?
It's a lot of people who weren't posers. Cyndi Lauper was no poser. She just wanted to have fun and masturbate. It's a
Fair.
reference to She Bop, kids.
Yes, I understood that.
Well, I know you did, but I
Yeah.
mean, there's
I
going to
mean,
be
we're I don't need to bring up the vapors with turning Japanese, do I? Um,
It's the only way they're ever going to get on this show.
yeah, exactly.
I got you.
Unless one of them passes away, I suppose. Um,
They might
uh,
already be dead.
who knows? I have no idea. I have not been following the career of the vapors.
If
Um,
there's anyone else.
yeah. So, but I mean, just think about pretty much all those. I mean, how many of those guys were wearing makeup and had long hair anyway in the 80s? Pretty much everybody.
I didn't.
All right, you weren't a rock star in the 80s.
I was not a rock star in the 90s either, but I was big in Belgium.
Fair enough. And you're huge in Japan. But the idea is, my point is, I don't know how much in retrospect that gets counted against them because it just kind of blends in with everything else from the 80s.
And the other thing, too, that also, we don't know how they finished.
That's also true. We have no idea.
Yeah, we don't know how they finished, how close anyone was.
Well, to be fair, Mana finished last. But other than that, we don't know how they finished.
Yeah, I think I think that's a fairly safe prediction that they did not do well.
Mana finished last and Fish finished second to last, in my opinion.
Hey, so if Fish did a tour with the Blue Oyster Cult and Hot Tuna, could they play the Enchantment Under the Sea dance?
You would, I mean, you would hope.
Yeah.
You just got to make sure they don't run into any scorpions.
Ooh.
Yeah. So Blue Oyster Cult's another band that might benefit from a bad company thinking about it. So also Steppenwolf, that was another one who's been
I
on
don't know. I had a girlfriend once who didn't realize that "Don't Fear the Reaper" was that was a real song.
Really?
Yeah, she thought it was.
That was just from the sketch?
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
yeah. We didn't stay together much longer after that. There
Fair
was
enough.
another reason why that was, but I won't go into that one here.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go with the last one that we both wanted very badly.
Yes.
The combo Joy Division New Order. Um,
This should have been the easiest slam dunk
mhm.
of everything. What New Order did. I mean, if you're not putting in Oasis, I guess you're not putting in New Order, but
But you've put in Depeche Mode,
yeah, I know.
and you've put in The Cure, and we've nominated the Smiths multiple times, but they haven't gotten in. So, I mean, and we've nominated Devo multiple times, and they haven't gotten in. I know they're not all the
Yeah.
same sort of thing, lane, but they're related,
Mhm.
right? Joy Division is Joy Division. I can understand people thinking it's a one-hit wonder, right?
Yeah, I can get why they think
I
that.
think that's one hit wonder. I think their influence is much greater than that one hit.
Mhm.
But I get them under I get them being in one hit wonder. But New Order is still in constant rotation
Mhm.
on multiple radio stations and multiple formats. You got an 80 station they're playing it. You got like just a normal rock station here in Chicago. Uh, WXRT, they're playing it. 101, Q101, the alternative station, they play New Order. Like they're just they're ubiquitous and they're important in the development of music and where it went. And they were global superstars, right? They were the ones chosen. I mean, this is a stupid level for it, but they were the ones chosen to create the theme for the World Cup one year. So like it's baffling to me that New Order's now 0 for 2 and getting in.
Especially with the group that you assume is part of this, which have
Hmm.
to be a lot of rock critics. They love New Order. They
Hmm.
love Joy Division. This should fit perfectly. And when the Rock Hall says it's all about influence, they've got everyone here beat. Everybody,
Hmm.
in my opinion.
I mean,
But that's
I would argue the only one you could get for in terms of shadow and what it meant is Outcast. I think they got everybody else. I'm saying in the same league.
yeah.
In terms of what came after them and everything else, I'd say Outkast is the only one who casts as big a shadow. Soundgarden is super important, but they're not Pearl Jam or Nirvana, which are kind of the lead people in that. For new wave electronica, for me, it's Depeche Mode, it's New Order, it's Devo. And we got one in easily and we're having trouble with the other two.
You could put him in for Blue Monday's impact alone.
Yeah.
I'm dead serious on that.
I have an 8.5 minute version of Blue Monday I listen to all the time.
Why not?
And the normal 5 minute version is not big enough for me. I need the 8.5 minute version.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so I expect from that group, I expect to see, in my opinion, next year. I expect maybe I'd just say Black Crowes, Mariah Carey, Billy Idol are the only three I really expect to see next year. Although maybe they'll bring Joy Division New Order back because they had a year off already. Um, I'm
Or
not expect to see Mana, Oasis, or Fish.
or would they might do things this way? Because let's go into the two that they just crowbarred in. Neither of whom were nominated. And
True.
this
One has never been nominated before.
yeah. Uh, Basically, this is the category for okay, who do we think that our voters are not going to put in that we really like? That's what
Mhm.
this is.
That is the MC5. Dionne Warwick was some of them. Uh,
Mhm.
who else has been on this list? DJ Cool Herc, although that was musical influence.
Yeah, I mean that one's sort of a category of its own. You could argue, but well, Shaka Khan,
Chaka Khan, yeah,
Nile Rodgers,
yeah.
which I
Harry Belafonte was another one. Gil Scott Heron.
mhm.
Um, yeah, but let's start with the first one, the one who's been nominated before,
Warren Zevon.
Warren Zevon.
Yeah, this is going to make a lot of people happy. I know that there was a big push for him among his fan base for a long time. It's
Um,
long overdue.
yeah, I've been thinking he's been filling the songwriter lane for a long period of time, and honestly, this year we didn't really have a songwriter here. Right? I guess Joe Cocker was sort of a thing, but we already talked about how he didn't actually write any songs.
Yeah, so I've got no problem with this whatsoever.
No, nobody should.
But the other one, okay, I'll throw my theory out here.
Please.
Uh, so it's Salt and Peppa, who I talk about songs I absolutely love. I love Push It. That is one of my
Oh,
favorite
yeah.
rap songs ever. Uh, it's pretty clear what it's about, what you're pushing and pushing real good.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna do it, that's a great one. It's one of the best. Saying that, I'm wondering if they looked and said, "Ah, shit, we've got two women that we've elected. One of them is Meg White,
Hmm.
who, well, let's be honest, is not necessarily. You and I are not thinking, oh man, I can't wait to see Meg White solo perform.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
suppose.
I what has she done anything after?
I don't have any idea.
Yep. And that's sort of the whole point there. So you've got only two women and you've got three black men. And with all due respect to Chubby Checker, if I were to say to you, hey Evan, give me 100 black musicians, and I know we're two old white guys saying this, but if I were to say,
Mhm.
Evan, give me 100 most influential black musicians, you wouldn't get to Checker. I don't think I would either. I'd forget about
No.
him.
I mean, you get Fats Domino, who he named himself after, but you'd 100% not get to Chubby Checker.
Right. So it's like, and this is not me saying that he's all whitewashed. That's not what I'm saying at all. And I'm not
I get
qualified to
it.
say that either. But when you think of the history of African American music, his name doesn't come to mind. When I think of the history of dance music, it's right up there. Early
Agreed.
60s, like uh dare I say novelties, not novelty, but novelty dance songs. Right. Then he's that guy. So the hall has been preaching diversity for a while and not necessarily backing up anything they say, especially
True.
on this ballot, which was, I mean, bluntly, the history of rock and roll music has been dominated by white men. Sorry, but it's true.
Hmm.
That's just how it is. So but they've been openly saying, we've got to diversify, we've got to do all this. And then you get a ballot where it's not that diverse. And then they went so obscure with the Mexican act that no one was going to pick
Hmm.
that.
Yeah.
What
What
are you
Los
doing this?
Lobos are out there. If you want a group from Mexico, put Los Lobos on there.
Who have a hit, who have far more critical impact.
Yeah.
by
Go put Los
far.
Lobos on there. Go put Selena on there.
She could do very well in
I bet
this.
she would. She absolutely
Oh,
would. So yeah, but I'm a little surprised it's Salt and Pepper. I have no problem with Salt and Pepper being here. You already talked about, of course, Push It. Uh, let's talk about Sex, Shoop, all those songs. I will say the one I was kind of expecting their partners on What a Man to be the one instead, En Vogue. I'm a little surprised it's Salt and Pepper over En Vogue, but I'm not upset about this in any way, shape, or form.
I'm not either, but this feels like this was a reaction so that they don't get labeled. That's I could be way off. Don't
It's
know.
possible.
But we've never thought of them on their radar at all.
No.
And I don't have a problem with it either. Bluntly, this is probably the only way they were going to get inducted, is this way.
Yeah.
I do have a problem with some that there's a lot of other great rap groups that are not there. But if you want to sort of say an influential female rappers, well, I mean, who was it? I mean, it was really them. And I can't even call Queen Latifah that influential. Queen Latifah just, she was out there, but a lot of people don't remember her music,
Hmm.
remember her style for her video, and she went into acting so quick. I mean, what's if I were to ask 100 people on the street our age, what's your favorite Queen Latifah song? Well, would we get a lot of them saying the theme from Living Single?
I suppose that's possible.
No,
Yeah.
I can't think of it like of anything there. So I don't know who Salt and Pepper helps because
I mean,
we
En
are
Vogue.
not. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, En Vogue, Destiny's Child, maybe. Um,
I think they want to stay clear of. It looks like Jay-Z may not have those issues that he had once before.
mm,
Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting. Well, it's, again, I hate that that's the first thing I thought of, but it's the Rock Hall. I have every reason to think that.
yeah, I agree. That's how they think about things.
Yeah.
Um, can we talk about the last three folks we have in here?
Please.
Because I think they did an excellent job here
Mhm.
with the Musical Excellence Awards. All three of them, who we have here, all 100% to be here, and this is what this category is for.
Mhm.
So let me start with Tom Bell. So Tom Bell, uh, 6 decades within music, wrote songs for the Delphonics, the Stylistics, the Spinners. Really one of the people who laid the groundwork for disco, which is a little bit surprising because disco is one of those things that they do not like, judging by Chic and both Rufus with Chaka Khan taking still not in. We had to break them up and get some folks in there.
Mhm.
Um, but like just I mean, me and Mrs. Jones. He did Brand New Me for Dusty Springfield. I'll Be Around by the Spinners. Just a absolutely wonderful writer. He's a member of the Songwriters Hall of Fame since 2006, member of the Musicians Hall of Fame in 2016. Now, almost a decade later, Tom Bell is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So he passed away in 2022. So that's just unfortunately posthumous. But I, if you're going to use this category for musical excellence, there are very few people who come up who had more effect in music, particularly in the late 60s, early 70s, or late 60s, all the 70s into the early 80s in Tom Bell.
Mhm.
So, do you have anything else to say about Tom Bell?
That could be a segue to get in Giorgio Moroder.
Yeah, that's actually a very good one.
Mhm.
Oh, that is actually excellent. I didn't even think about that. Interesting. All right. Uh, a man who played piano on 250 albums,
That's it.
only 250, Nicky
Okay.
Hopkins is
Mhm.
here. He played on songs with the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, the Kinks, the Who, the Jeff Beck Group, the Steve Miller Band, Jefferson Airplane, Little Richard, Jerry Lee Lewis stuff he was with, like Screaming Lord Such, Quicksilver Messenger Service, Led Zeppelin, like just all sorts of stuff. Frank Zappa, Ella Fitzgerald, Jefferson Airplane, Joe Cocker. He's the one playing piano on "You Are So Beautiful" and by
Oh,
Joe
okay.
Cocker. He's the one playing piano on "Gimme Shelter" from Rolling Stones. Like, I don't know what else you can say about him other than, yeah, this is the exact category that someone like Nicky Hopkins. Now, Nicky Hopkins is the only one of these three who is actually on my spreadsheet for getting in. He would have been eligible for the first time. Hold on, let me go there. Uh, Nicky Hopkins has been eligible for the since 1992. And I never really took him seriously for his own stuff. But yeah, the musical excellence, Nicky Hopkins, 100% deserves to be in.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I
Uh,
totally agree.
and the last one is another fairly inspired choice, Carol Kay.
Mhm.
Um, so uh, she's a bass player. So she was behind all sorts of different songs, including the Beach Boys. She worked with Simon and Garfunkel, the Supremes, Frank Zappa again, part of the Wrecking Crew of back in LA, that group of session musicians who played on everything. Now, I said that he was on 250 albums for Nicky Hopkins. They think that Carol Kay this is the estimate, she played on 10,000 recordings in her career.
Damn.
She's, they believe she's one of the most recorded bass players in history. Um,
Mm,
so things she played on, you ready?
I'm
La
ready.
Bamba by Richie Valens.
Mhm.
Then He Kissed Me by the Crystals. You've Lost That Love and Feeling by the Righteous Brothers. Homeward Bound by Simon and Garfunkel. The theme from Mission Impossible, one of the most famous bass lines of all
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Uh, River Deep Mountain High by Ike and Tina Turner.
Mhm.
The entire Pet Sounds album by the Beach Boys. Not that it was an important album or anything. Um, the Beat Goes On, Sonny and Cher. The Wichita Lineman by Glenn Campbell. Another Joe Cocker song, Feeling All Right. The theme from MASH. Just all sorts of stuff. 65 years Carol Kay uh, was performing on stuff. She's still alive. She's 90 years old.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think it'd be awesome if she were able to perform. I have no idea what her health is right now, but it'd be absolutely amazing if she were able to perform. Yes, here's another list for you. A Message to People by Ray Charles, California Girls. Um, oh God, these are just the albums. Uh, there's so many. Like Quincy Jones. Uh, I mean, how Johnny Mandel, Henry Mancini, like just so many things. Tammy Terrell, The Miracles, Nancy Sinatra, Barbara Streisand. She's the bass player on "The Way We Were" by Barbara Streisand.
I'll forgive her.
I know. Well, again, she's done 10,000 things. They're not all going to
Yeah.
be perfect. The Man from Shaft by Richard Roundtree. Like Summertime by Sam Cooke, Herb Alpert. I mean, we're talking like
Mhm.
everything. She actually also performed on 6 different albums with John Williams of Star Wars fame. Like, there's nothing she hasn't done. I really hope she's there. Oh, of course. One also plays based on one of the greatest instrumentals hits of all time, "Walk Don't Run."
Mm. Mm.
Which is all.
Now I'm gonna watch American Graffiti again for the 15th time because of this.
I'm fine with that. I think you should do that. Um,
I'll pass on more American Graffiti.
She was also the bass player on the theme songs for the following shows: Kojak, Wonder Woman, Love Boat, McCloud, Alice, The Brady Bunch, Get Smart, Hogan's Heroes, Room 222, Lost in Space, Mission Impossible, Mannix, Hawaii 5 0. The Streets of San Francisco, Ironside, the 1969 version of the Bill Cosby Show, Wild Wild West, The Addams Family, Green Acres, and Sanford and Son. As a matter of fact, the Sanford and Son, she composed the theme song to Sanford and Son.
Wait, Quincy Jones didn't do that?
She apparently is listed as a composer for Sanford and Son.
Oh, okay.
She worked a lot with Quincy Jones, so it's possible they're both on that one.
Okay.
But like, she's just everywhere, and I'm just really glad that she's getting her due while she's around. I don't know how I haven't seen Carol Kay do anything in years, so I have no idea what her health is like. But it's cool it's happening while she's alive. So
That those soundtracks of the 70s, man, that was a time.
yeah,
Now, there really aren't soundtracks or opening themes anymore.
we were talking about this the other day that there aren't any jingles anymore.
Well, people can get past the commercials. You got to get they're all TikToks.
That's true.
Yeah.
Give me but I mean, I know like four different gum jingles still. Kiss a little longer with Big Red.
Oh, that one, shit, yeah.
Double your pleasure, double your fun with
Yeah.
Double McGum. You got juicy fruit. It's gonna move you. Like just those are just gum. We don't even see those advertised anymore. So it's just weird. So anyway, congratulations to everybody got in.
Mm.
Even the one who I think I'd take Billy Idol over Joe Cocker every single time. I have no problem with Joe Cocker being in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Mm.
I have no trouble with any of these folks being in, which is again with the history of Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, not always the easiest thing to say.
No,
Um,
it's not. But they've got to do something about their brand awareness, which you'd think
100%.
that wouldn't be a problem, but it is.
It is 100% is agreed.
Yeah.
Just by the way, eligible for the first time next year,
Mhm.
coming attractions, Alicia Keys, which is maybe the biggest name I can think of here.
I just
Like,
found out she's a colossal bitch from someone who had to deal with her.
no, well, that I
Sorry
didn't
to,
know.
sorry to throw that out there, but it was one of those jaw-dropping stories. Like, what an awful person this is.
Mm.
Kind of
Well,
disappointed. She seems so nice.
yeah, I don't know. Avenged Sevenfold, Blake Shelton.
Mm.
Let's see who else we got here. I'm just going alphabetical order. One of my favorites, the Decemberists. I love the Decemberists. They'll never get in. They're the replacements of this generation.
I agree. Yep.
David Guetta, the Dresden Dolls. Let's see who else we got here. India Ari, Jack Johnson, believe it or not, is old enough now. Josh Groban, uh,
Sorry.
M83, I do love them. Mastodon, Miranda Lambert, the short-lived hip-hop group. I have their album Fly or Die, NERD, Nerd. Uh, the National, here's one that's make you feel old, buddy. Nora Jones is up. Uh,
Mm.
Peter, Bjorn, and John. Psy, as in Opa Gangnam Style Psy. uh, Ray LaMontagne, Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings, um, The Streets, The Strokes, Tenacious D.
Love the Strokes.
I love the Strokes as well. The Vines, Will I Am as a solo artist, and the Yeah Yeahs are all eligible for the first time next year.
Yeah.
That's another one that makes you feel old.
Karen O is closing in on 50.
Must be. By the way, Salt and Peppa. Salt is 59. Peppa is either 55 or 60. They're not quite sure. She has two different birthdays. That's it's very different. And then Spinderella is 54. So I went and looked that up. So anyway,
Well,
that's who's eligible next year. So
for those wondering about like the not Hall of Fame rock list, I'm going to be removing all of those, and then probably in a few months I will be adding a lot of the people that Evan just mentioned. Uh,
mhm,
some more prominently than others. The one I just sort of like shit on from a story I just heard yesterday will probably be one of the higher ones.
of course.
But so Alicia, just treat hotel staff a little bit better.
Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, the year after that's huge though. Year after that we got Beyonce, the Black Keys, Justin Timberlake, and Kanye West, among others. LCD Sound System, Rodrigo Gabriela, Chameleon Air. There are a whole bunch of them. So
Sad thing is, when Kanye's eligible, I can make a case for him at number one right away.
I get it.
But that thing of why they won't get in is going to be. I mean, I can actually sum it up in one sentence rather than just that could be the whole thing. Like, Jesus. I'm not even going to talk about what he just revealed last week.
Yeah.
Like, what is. Especially when they're sort of like dumping on Drake.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kanye said, no, dump on me instead. What?
Any attention is positive attention, my friend.
I don't understand this, man.
Yeah.
Uh,
Speaking of other people who have reasons they're not going to get in, both CeeLo Green and Robin Thicke are also eligible next year. So, Fall Out Boy. Who else we got? The Libertines, My Chemical Romance. Yeah, that 2027 is big. Ashanti, Avril Lavigne, Audio Slave. So 2027 is much bigger than 2026. No one from 2026, except maybe Alicia Keys, is going to factor in what we're doing. So
she's
actually,
she's still relevant today.
that is true.
Yeah.
And actually, one of my favorite artists who will never ever get in, but I absolutely love her, Natalia Lafourcade, is also eligible next year. She's amazing, but never made a real dent here in the United States. So, also 30 Seconds to Mars. You made the 15 Seconds to Mars joke, but 30 Seconds to Mars.
Whoa. Why did I say 15?
Yeah, you said because 15. I got the joke. It made sense. So.
Oh, yeah. They're not all gems, folks.
Yeah.
You're just sort of lucky when you said McCloud, I didn't break out my favorite joke of all time.
Which is?
Okay, here it is.
I mean, you got to set us up and leave us hanging.
Well, yeah. Well, I told you about that time that Mick Jagger was at the Playboy Mansion, right?
Oh, yes, you did.
I did?
Yeah. Right. Keep going, though.
Okay, for those, this is a true story. So Mick's there at the Playboy Mansion, but Mick was a big fan of 70s American TV. He just loved it. And who's there? Who's there? It's McCloud himself. It's Dennis Weaver. It's like, you're Dennis Weaver. You're Dennis Weaver. I love McCloud. It's one of my favorite shows. Yes, I'm McCloud. Yeah, I'm Dennis Weaver. It's a pleasure. They talk for a bit. And these are bang-on impressions. Ted, but master impressionist.
I mean, they're right up there with Wayne Gretzky. So,
it's been, they're there to be with the playmates, right? So, Mick's having another drink, but he's drinking a lot that night. But he has to go to the bathroom, so he opens up the bathroom door. And what does he see? It's Hugh Hefner, and he's banging Dennis Weaver. Boom. It's just. It doesn't know what to say. He just looks and says, "Hey, Hugh, get off of McCloud."
Yeah. I remember that one from a few years ago, but you had to finish it out. So,
joke of all time.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
So anyway, we should just do the deaths before we go, which include the Miami Heat, who are down by 44 points with 2 minutes left before halftime. And
all right, so I recorded it to watch later, so you're telling me there's no point.
It was 72-28 with 2 minutes left before halftime.
Are you okay? You as a Celtics fan, are you scared
of Cleveland?
Yeah.
No, I think we match up fine. Miami's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'd much rather play Miami than Orlando, particularly since Bam Adebayo has taken a significant step back, in my opinion. Okay. But we'll see. I mean, Cleveland, I think, should be worried about Indy. If Indy should get through, particularly now that Dame's maybe out all of next year too. But that Indiana is a scary team, and I don't think they get credit because they're Indiana. So that's gonna be a heck of a series. I think the Celtics, again, we got to get through Orlando still. But if we end up with the Knicks do not match up with us very well. We will have the easier of those series. We'll see what happens with Cleveland and Indiana. Mm-hmm. So, one other person I just want to bring up, the fan in Cleveland who said to
Jaron
Duran that he should have killed himself when he had the chance. I would like to thank the fans in Cleveland for basically trying to shut him the hell down and like backing up Duran. There are a-holes everywhere, right? But the fans in Cleveland did the right thing on that. And that guy, you should probably take your own advice. So,
Also, too, on that note, to the person who pranked Shedeur Sanders,
mhm.
same sort of thing. And if you're gonna do something that stupid, yeah, maybe don't film it.
But that was the whole thing. And yeah. And they were talking about that on
It's
the
his,
sport.
he hurt his dad more than anybody.
Oh, they were talking about that on the score today.
Yeah.
Because apparently a whole bunch of people got phone sits for this, and then bunches of them got pranked. And I think the NFL has to step in and have actual sanctions on the people who let that stuff through. I think his dad should suffer some sort of punishment, whether it's a fine or being suspended for a game or something. Because, I mean, they can't punish the kid, but the dad should just be leaving his stuff out and around where anybody can get to it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can't do much in Georgia, but you're right next to Florida. Yeah, I think you can get away with a lot more in Florida.
You know, there is that Florida Georgia line there. So, um,
Yeah, when are they eligible?
uh, too soon. Um, or maybe not soon enough. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway. All right. So people passed away. We did lose somebody to the Beige Mistress. Joseph Garami, who at the age of 85 was a forward in the Hungarian league and also as a manager for a long time. You may say that he died of old age. We know that
We know
there's a
differently.
secret. We know differently. There's a secret serial killer who only kills Hungarian athletes over in Europe. So, although been very quiet mostly this year.
Why are we even assuming she's female? It just seems like something
That's a
that,
good question. I mean, it's just the persona that we've given.
yeah.
Could be anything. Um, so some more folks who passed away. Robert S. Douglas, I'll just mention him quickly. He passed away at the age of 93. Best known probably as the founder of the Black Dog Restaurant in Martha's Vineyard. You see those Black Dog shirts everywhere. They're all over the U.S.
Okay.
But he passed away at the age of 93.
Never
Also,
been.
Laura Park Lincoln,
Hmm?
best known as Kate from Friday the 13th part. Oh, no, sorry. Friday the 13th part 7, The New Blood. She
Hmm.
was Tina Shepard, among a whole bunch of other things. Also was on Knots Landing for several years. She passed away at the age of 63. And one of the, again, we always say there aren't that many people from the old days of Hollywood. One of the legitimate last ones, Cora Sue Collins passed away at the age of 98. She was the little kid in basically every movie that didn't involve singing and dancing from 1932 through 1945. She was in 49 films in that time period. Everything from like The Unexpected Father to Smiling Through, The Scarlet Letter, Naughty Marietta, like a whole bunch of Anna Karenina, a whole bunch of those old movies from the 30s and early 40s. And then she went on to have a real life after that. But she passed away at the age of
Nice.
98.
I guess back then those child stars could have a normal life after.
Yeah. She married a wealthy rancher from Nevada.
Hmm.
At one point, the most famous thing I can think of is they were on vacation and Robert stole two mink coats from her home when she was there. She also played Becky Thatcher in The Adventures of Tom Sawyer back in the day. So, or she was originally supposed to be, but then she moved to Amy Lawrence because she was too tall for the main actor, and then they want the boy to be shorter than the girl. So there you go.
As it should be.
Yeah, I mean that's the way apparently life is supposed to go. Um, Also passed away from the world of music, Paul A. Baptiste, a member of the Baptiste family, of which John Baptiste from is probably the most famous, but there are 25 musicians in that family. And Paul, his uncle, passed away at the age of, how old is Paul Baptiste? 75. So, also from music, bu- 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 sorry, Peter McKeon from The City. Do you remember The City? They had one hit.
What was the hit?
Their biggest hit was Planets in Motion.
No, that
Remember
doesn't
Planets in
bother me.
Motion from 1986? Anyway, so the founding member of that, Peter McKeon, He passed away at the age of, actually, I don't know how old he was, but he passed away on the 24th of April. Um, there's one more. Also passing away from music, there it is. David Thomas, one of the founding members of Pere Ubu, and also was from Rocket from the Tombs. He passed away at the age of 71. And also David Briggs, a keyboardist, record producer, one of the Nashville Cats, who was elected to the Country Music Hall of Fame back in 2015. He passed away at the age of 82. He had his first recording session at the age of 14 and played on albums with Elvis Presley, Dean Martin, Joan Baez, Nancy Sinatra, B.B. King, Johnny Cash, Dolly Parton, Waylon Jennings, George Harrison, Todd Rundgren, Roy Orbison, The Monkees, J.J. Cale, Chris Christopherson, Alice Cooper, Charlie Pride, and many others. But other than that, did
What
he
did he
know
do?
any musicians?
Yeah.
But he was inducted to the Alabama Music Hall of Fame in '99, Musicians Hall of Fame in 2019, and the Country Music Hall of Fame in 2015. He passed away at the age of 82. American Olympian Lana DuPont of the DuPont family, the daughter of Hilaire DuPont, who competed in the equestrian event at the 1964 Summer Olympics.
Yeah. Once you said I knew that had to be the sport.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
She passed away at the age of 85. She had a daughter as well, Beal Morris, who died at the age of 34 back in 2005, who is also going to make the Olympic team in equestrian events as well. So, from the world of golf, J.C. Snead, the nephew of Hall of Famer Sam Snead, passed away at the age of 84. Won 8 times on the PGA Tour, 4 times on the Tour Champions. He finished second in the U.S. Open in '78, second in the Masters in '73, and third in the PGA in '73, but never ended up winning any of the major tournaments. He was 84 years old. From the Motorsports Hall of Fame, Ed Pink, named the Old Master, probably one of the most famous builders of engines for drag racing of all time. He passed away at the age of 94. He actually was the person who built and maintained Shirley Muldowney, one of the nominees we have for our hall, her engine. So
Yeah, did
he
you know
passed.
that one of our voters wrote her autobiography?
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah, Greg Oliver.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Cool.
one of our new voters. So,
Well, he definitely would have known Mr. Pink. Um,
but he didn't vote for her.
that's odd. There are a few things that was odd. We had some people who were like, "Hey, you need to put this person on," and then didn't vote for them. It was a very strange situation. Um, from baseball, Ricky Peters. I don't know if you remember him. Played for the Tigers and A's back in the late '70s, early '80s. He passed away at the age of 69. He was a member of the Arizona State Sun Devils team that won the '77 College World Series as well. He was 69 years old. Um, also from, well, sort of, well, we'll stick with this one. Also from baseball, pretty big name. Walt Jocketty passed away. Former general manager of both the Cardinals and Cincinnati Reds. He was 74 years old. He was the Sporting News Executive of the Year 3 times in 2000, 2004, and 2010. He led the Cardinals to 7 Central Division championships and 2 National League championships, as well as the World Series in 2006. Um, he was dismissed from 2007 um, from the Cardinals and ended up going over to the Reds. So where he won Sporting News Executive Year while he was over there as well. But he passed away at the age of 74. From basketball, one of the greatest mustaches in sports history, Stan Love, passed away at the age of 76. He played for the Baltimore Bullets, Los Angeles Lakers, and San Antonio Spurs. Um, he was 76 years old. The bigger name from basketball passed away, Dick Barnett. Played for the Syracuse Nationals, Lakers, and Knicks. Was on both of those Knicks championship teams. back in
Yeah.
70 and 73. One-time All-Star at 68, ABL champion in 62. His number 12 was retired by the New York Knicks. Three-time NAIA champion at Tennessee State.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Good. Three-time NAIA tournament MVP, and three-time Little College All-American in his career. Sorry, we're gonna say?
I was gonna say, like, Barnett's always usually a perennial preliminary candidate for the basketball hall, as is that Tennessee State team.
Correct.
Constantly always nominated, but then never really advanced.
Yeah, he had scored 15,000 points in his career, averaging 15.8. But
Probably one of the better one-time All-Stars of all time. If you were to
I would
put
say that's
an
probably true.
all-time one-time All-Star, Barnett's on that team.
Agreed. So he is a member of the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame. He was elected back in 2007, along with Austin Carr, Dick Groat, Guy Lewis, Norm Stewart, and Lefty Drizel. But it says Basketball Hall of Fame. Hold on a second here.
Barnett's not in the Basketball Hall of Fame.
I'm checking what it says. Hold on.
Unless I missed something completely. Which is possible.
What is that? Hoop Hall of Famers. It has him listed.
How did I miss this? What year?
That's a good question. He's a member of they did elect the Tennessee A&I Tigers team
Oh,
in
okay.
2019.
What
So
team am I thinking of?
I don't know, but his team was elected to the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. So he's a member of that team.
Okay.
So I was like, wait a second. I don't think that's as correct. Yeah. Oh, no, it says Barnett was inducted Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in 2024.
Did I forget this? I
Did
gotta
I
see
miss
if
that?
I'm listed. If I have them listed, then I made a big mistake.
Let me
If
see.
I don't, then I forgot that he was inducted. All right, that's gonna bother me. I'm gonna look this up while you're moving on.
Yeah, hold on. I'm doing it as well.
I should know this.
Class of Basketball Hall of Fame, class of 2024.
And do I have him somewhere? Might help if I spell it right. See, I don't mind when I make a flaw. Oh no, I did take it off.
Yeah, there you go. So,
Okay.
all right. Anyway, so he's a member twice, and we screwed that up. So anyway,
I screwed that up. I should know that.
Dick Barnett, member of the Basketball Hall of Fame twice, passed away at the age of 88.
I'm glad you weren't alive to hear my faux pas. That didn't sound very good at all.
I think we skedaddled past mistake and right into faux pas.
I am
Okay,
part French.
there you go. All right, well, everyone else we have here is from football. Starting with Frank Parker, defensive lineman for the Browns, Steelers, and Giants, a member of the Cleveland Browns 1964 NFL champion team. He passed away at the age of 64. He was drafted both in the NFL and AFL drafts. Drafted by the New York Titans, which he did not go to. Also passing away, Steve Kiner, a member of the College Football Hall of Fame. Played for the Cowboys, Patriots, and Oilers during his career. He passed away, he played 114 games in the NFL. He passed away at the age of 77. He was two-time first-team All-SEC and one-time second-team All-SEC, as well as the SEC Defensive Player of the Year back in 1969 at Tennessee. So, also passing away, member of the three-time NFL champion Green Bay Packers and two-time Super Bowl champion, being with them in Super Bowl I and II. Tom Brown, safety, passed away at the age of 84. Also spent some time with the Washington Senators in Major League Baseball. Only played one season for them, but he in 1963. But he passed away at the age of 84. And finally, the biggest name to pass away of the week, a person who we got to see honored in um, Canton last year, Steve McMichael, Mongo. Um, Mongo passed away at the age of 67. A very important part of those Bears defenses in the 1980s. Also wrestled in World Championship Wrestling, part of the
Mhm.
Four Horsemen. But do you have anything to say about Steve McMichael?
Yeah, it's one of those things where, the Hall can sometimes be too stuck up and not sort of like fall into sentiment.
Hmm.
This was not one of those times. Obviously, Mongo couldn't articulate what it meant to him, but he was able to live through that. And yeah, just an absolute character.
Absolutely a character.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
question on that
I think my favorite thing, and he probably would get a kick out of it too, was when he passed away. Angel Hernandez was trending.
one. Because he called him out during the seventh inning stretch.
Stretch, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Don't worry,
Yeah.
I'll have a chat with that umpire later. The parking lot, or whatever the fuck he said. It was just great.
And Angel Hernandez standing there with his hands on his hips.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Got to be the first and only time that anyone's ever been kicked out
right.
for
Singing
that.
the seventh. I mean, I'm sure that Harry Carey must have at some point because he was fairly opinionated, but
I don't, yeah, but I don't think he could, even the great Angel Hernandez could have kicked out Harry Carey in Chicago.
the great Angel Hernandez.
I
Ugh.
put I put air quotes in that.
Joe West would have kicked him out though.
Joe West might have tried.
Yeah. So McMichael, I guess, fortunately, is the first Pro Football Hall of Fame we've lost this year. Um, but yeah,
Well,
last year was a particularly heavy year for having lost folks. So actually, last few years have. But yeah, Mongo passed away at the age of 67. Godspeed. I'm kind of glad his suffering is over because he apparently, from what everyone said, was aware when he got elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, he was aware of it, but he couldn't articulate anything. You could see when they told him about it, they said that you could see his eyes light up. But yeah, that's no way to live. I hate saying that, but it just isn't.
no, it's absolutely not a way to live. I think sometimes it's more jarring when it is, again, like I said, one of those larger than life characters,
Hmm.
because they're not supposed to go down like that.
Yeah. Is he the only member of the College Football Hall of Fame, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and a WCW United States Heavyweight Champion, do you think?
When you put that third category in, I'd say definitely yes. Yeah. You could just say Four Horsemen.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, teamed with Ric Flair. What more do you want?
And the only one of those people ever to um, coach a the Continental Indoor Football League team,
Well, I didn't know that.
the Chicago Slaughter.
That sounds like a perfect Mongo team name.
It does, Mongo team name.
That sounds great.
It's based in Hoffman Estates. That's the town directly north of us. That should be part of our town.
Also, his ex-wife married Steve Austin, Stone Cold Steve Austin, for a little bit.
Interesting.
Yeah, Mongo's got a type.
Hmm.
If you saw his second wife, I'm
Yeah,
assuming second wife. I don't know.
yeah. So, by the way, when they opened the team, they interviewed two people for the head coaching position. It was Mongo, and who do you think the other person they interviewed was?
God.
Think the same team.
Oh, let's see. Who was a character? Harry?
Yeah, Refrigerator Perry were the two people they interviewed. Perry turned him down. They offered him football operations, but he didn't want to have to relocate back to Chicago, so he turned him down.
Because he's from the South, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Fridge is from South Carolina.
Isn't it ironic he hates the cold weather?
You would think, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's everybody I got. Godspeed, Mongo.
Well, it certainly won't be an interesting Hall of Fame is like it was last year because you got to figure the biggest name may not even be there. Shannon Sharp, because you got to figure he was the going to be the inductor. Might still be. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Why is Shannon not gonna be there? I missed something.
Yeah, so did him. It's called an NDA.
Oh, got it. Yeah, got it. Okay, I remember now.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm still wondering why the Browns drafted Shedeur Sanders 50 picks after drafting another quarterback. By the way, that's the record for fewest number of picks ever between two quarterbacks drafted by the same team, the same draft.
He's going to be fine. Cleveland's got this great history of molding young quarterbacks. It's no issue here. Hey, you know what, Shedeur? This could turn out to be the best thing that ever happened to you.
Yeah, good.
Sometimes you
Absolutely.
got to take a big L. You took it on a big stage. What you do with it is going to define your career.
100%.
Let's see what you got.
100%.
Let's see what
So
you got. I'm have no reason to root against you.
I have nothing against him either.
Yeah,
So um,
I wanted New Orleans to take him because what? Yeah, I feel really good about the prospects of a 26-year-old rookie quarterback.
hey, he'll be
Oh,
27 by opening day. So you're
oh
good.
well, even better. Unless he's the second coming of Roger Staubach, which he's probably not.
I suppose that's true.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, the draft was interesting. I do have to say, one of my favorite things was the announcement of the rivals jerseys, where like they've decided whenever one team plays another as their main rival, that they're going to wear a specific jersey for it. Um, and then they don't have any mock-ups of the jerseys. That was one of my favorite parts. So, hey, at least it's not the color rush jerseys, I suppose. I also want to know, like, so I'm presuming the Bears and the Packers are going to be rivals, but
I, so
does that mean that the Vikings and Lions have to be by default? Like, it's weird. Do the Steelers and Ravens, I guess, go? Because the Ravens and Browns ought obviously be something, but then it's an odd combination. I don't even know who the Patriots' rival is.
I would assume the Jets because the Bills will have to be paired with the Dolphins.
Why would the Bills be paired with the Dolphins, though?
Bills Bills fans hate Miami. I mean that's their that was their rival for years. Was the Buffalo Miami one. I mean, I suppose you could go Buffalo New England, but then what you going to do? Jets Dolphins? Nobody cares about that.
I mean, I'm thinking more. I don't think Buffalo, New England makes sense. I'm thinking more it's Buffalo and the Jets, and then New England and Miami. Um, but
Who do you pair the Jags with?
the London Knights. No,
I was trying to think of some kind of England joke too.
it's got to be the Titans, right?
I guess.
And then you have the Texans and Colts, I guess. Like the whole thing doesn't make any sense. I feel like the Patriots and Colts should be the
Mhm.
rivals. But we're not in the same division, and I don't know what that means. Does that mean then you put the Jets with the Texans? That doesn't make any sense. So the whole thing is a little bit weird, and it was very strangely done. It was just funny. They're like, "There's a rival thing," and then they didn't show us anything about it.
Maybe they haven't thought this all out. Maybe you don't have to include every team.
Maybe.
I mean, why? I mean, because like we said, Jacksonville has no rival right now. They just
The
don't.
ri the rivalry, the Arizona Cardinals and the Seattle Seahawks.
Well, here I guess they would consider their biggest rivals the Niners. That's the team that they all hate here, but
But it would be Niners Rams though.
right, exactly. So then what? Seattle's an odd team out.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, the Chargers are going to be against their own fans, so because I don't have any.
no, that's
Uh,
not true. Marianne Doe, she's awesome.
yeah, fine. I'm just saying that the San Diego need to go back to San Diego. By the way, one cool thing that did happen this week, I don't know if you saw it,
Mhm.
the Washington Commanders reached an agreement to move back into DC in
Oh,
2030. They're going to tear down RFK and
mhm.
build a new stadium on the same spot as RFK.
Hmm.
So
If RFK Jr. gets involved, there'll be no additives. I don't.
they also won't have an actual doctor on staff. Um,
Dan Snyder bought the team again?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that
Yeah,
the
no,
guy he has in charge of his autism search never had a medical degree. He was using his father's, and then his father had his medical degree pulled. This is the guy who's in charge of his autism search. So he wants a national registry of everyone with autism.
well, there you go. No politics. I didn't even look at what's going on in the Canadian election right now.
Yeah, I think that it's looking like the left is going to win, from what I've heard, but I have no idea if that's true.
I haven't checked. All I know is love him, hate him. This is Trump's fault
Hmm.
in Canada. This is a complete reaction to something that was so locked in months
Yeah, it
before.
says Canada's Liberals projected to win election overshadowed by Trump's threats is like lead here. I see on CNN.
That's what a lot of them are thinking. I've got many a friend who will not come here.
I get it.
They're afraid to sort of cross the border, and yeah. So I don't know. I'm not really looking forward to coming back either.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. Maybe the lines will be short, so they'll have more time to investigate me. All right, we're gonna check your phone. Yeah, knock yourself out. Sports data. There's nothing there.
And they'll be like, oh, you don't like Trudeau? You're in. You're fine.
I haven't even made a Trudeau comment on Twitter. I think I made one, and because I can't stand the guy, but he's somewhere he's got to be kicking himself.
Mm,
Like if he just stuck around, he might have pulled it off.
maybe. But I
It's
think it's time for
possible.
some new blood up there in Canada. So
We'll see. We'll see. Maybe you know what? Maybe I'll make a comeback, a political comeback.
you never know.
Yeah.
All right, man. I
All
think we
right.
should end
Well,
this on that
sounds
note.
good. Yes. Well, as we always end,
Oh, by the way, next time we're getting together is pretty much gonna be our announcement, probably,
I
right?
would think so. Yeah. Unless there's something new coming out that we want to talk about, but we're entering our slow time.
So the 20 names of the folks who have made it out of the 132
Hmm.
are going to be there. It's a very good list of names of people who didn't make it. The next 20 people would also be a very good list of names to have come out. But yeah, we have 20 folks coming out, including, as always, does way better on voting than it does on TV. Baseball leading the way. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the national pastime. I mean, there's a lot more legends than baseball with that history.
that is true.
I mean, it certainly makes sense. I thought it would be more diverse, but what do I know?
And we got to get a bunch of these baseball legends through before we can start talking about some of the smaller sports anyway. You're just going to have bigger names with some of these legends who aren't there yet. So,
Yeah. So check out everything else we do here in the Bucknerverse. Cast your votes soon, but we'll promote that a little bit more later. And yeah, a lot of list updates coming soon at Not in Hall of Fame. Football, I finally figured out my revisions. Now I just have to go in and do it, which is always fun. So when you're messaging me saying so and so is in, yeah, I know.
takes time, man. Takes time. I
Yeah,
get it.
yeah. And if you have a problem with that, why don't you come here and help me? No? You
Yeah.
won't? Okay, well then fine.
I volunteered like 15 years ago, and look where I am now, in front of a blue wall on a screen with the head of the Bucknerverse. So,
But now you get to you a public figure, which
I
God, the
suppose,
bar is so flipping low for that.
I suppose that's true. Anyway, let's close this out, man.
All right. Wherever you are, wherever it may be, make today count because it never comes again. Take care, everybody.
Take care, guys.